Hello and welcome to More Than Footy, your official Sydney Swans podcast, brought to you by Bing Lee. I'm Tom Chadwick.
I'm Caitlin Squilari. Chatty.
Yes.
Do we talk about Saturday night?
Let's address it just off the top really quickly. Very disappointing result from the boys against the Crows. What did you make of it when you're watching?
A lot to improve on.
Yeah, a lot to improve on. I think the vibe around the place is not too bad, though, considering a couple of really bad losses.
I agree. Yeah, the boys are definitely learning from it. I think we'll see a big turnaround for sure.
Yeah, huge test against Richmond, obviously, this weekend, given they were pretty close to knocking off the Giants. But let's turn our attention to another one of our successful programs in the AFLW. They are 2 weeks into pre-season training, so it's time to welcome Lulu Pullar to the podcast. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
How is pre-season coming along?
Yeah, it's we're week 3 now, so well and truly started, and I'd say the girls are flying. It's been a really fun start to the pre-season, obviously off the back of a big off-season for majority of the team, which is awesome. So yeah, no, it's just great to be back in these incredible facilities, and yeah, really enjoying it.
How are the facilities different? What's your favourite part of the facility?
Honestly, probably the coffee machine.
Yeah,
It's hard to argue.
I mean, there is so much to say about these facilities. They're quite unique, like just the way they've been able to restore sort of like the heritage listed, even say like natural light in the gym is pretty unheard of in terms of these sort of sporting facilities. But yeah, definitely the coffee machine. I'm absolutely loving that. And it's also just a communal spot to get to know everyone as well.
Can you make a good coffee?
I drink black coffee, so it's pretty simple for me. Someone asked for a latte the other day and I absolutely butchered it. So, yeah, I'm not good at frothing the milk, but can make a double shot long black.
Perfect. Sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah, it's the perfect fuel, I think, for training.
And how are you going in pre-season personally?
It's been good. Obviously, I've had a few setbacks with injuries in the last couple of years and unfortunately sort of carrying a bit of an injury at the moment, but sort of building back up now, which is really exciting. And, just to trying to get up to speed with our game plan and sort of utilise all the resources around me, coaches, the facilities themselves, any bit of vision. We have so many great opportunities to learn and get better, and you can really feel that among this group. So, it's just been a really hot start and, a lot more to come.
How has the rehab going? A slight calf injury. I noticed you're spending a bit of time on the bike. Is it frustrating not being able to complete the sessions that you really want to complete?
Yeah, of course. Like unfortunately, the last 12 months have been pretty riddled with injury. And up until that, really hadn't had an injury in my career. So it's certainly been an adjustment. I think when you're injured, you have to find your silver linings and your edge in different ways. And at the moment, the best thing I can do for my team is to rehab as best as I possibly can and get back and be healthy and available. Your mindset does shift. And I think being able to see the silver linings, maintain your positivity and your gratitude and come to training every day and find wins in every single day is what really grows hopefully a resilient mindset that's going to pay dividends later when I actually am playing. But it's also given me a really good opportunity to really solidify the game plan in my head and work on other things. And obviously it's not ideal. You'd always want to be training, but I think in order to maintain a really healthy and high performance mindset, you do have to constantly find wins and edges in other areas that, you might not actually have the opportunity to do if you're always training. So, trying to just grow as much as I can as a player and also get to know this team and the game style.
How are you gelling with the team?
Yeah, obviously being in rehab, you are a little bit more isolated. So naturally that's difficult. And I was away this off season working as well. So it was a bit of a double whammy for me. But, this group is just so open-minded. They're such a fun group. Everyone's really invested in each other. They want to get to know you. There's so many opportunities for us to get to know each other as well. And, I've lucky enough to get coffees with the girls outside of training, or I love cooking, having the girls over for dinner and just kind of doing it organically, really. I think, that's sort of how all kind of relationships should be made, is just very natural. And I think obviously not being out on the track is a little bit difficult, but just trying to invest in those little moments, like literally having a coffee with the girls before training, is sort of what I've been trying to focus on. And yeah, this group makes it very easy to do that.
How has the transition and the move to Sydney been? Has it been organic in the sense of making friends outside of the club and spending a bit of time with family, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really lucky to have a lot of family and friends in Sydney, which is probably what prompted part of the move up here as well. Sydney's sort of a very well-known city to me, which is really nice, and it's a beautiful city as well. So I'd say it's been a pretty smooth ride, to be honest, albeit, a few rental issues in my house. But
we'll get there.
and maybe my sister moving overseas.
We're going to get there, don't worry.
No, but I'm very lucky to have such a strong support network here, and I actually love Sydney as a city as well. So, no, it's been a really nice move, and just so much yet to explore as well, which is exciting.
And you've moved up with Thelma. Can you tell us about Thelma?
Yeah. Thelma is my beloved 3-year-old daughter, also boxer. No, she's gorgeous. Thank God she's 3 now, because when I moved to Melbourne, she was a puppy, and it was a bit of a nightmare, to be honest.
Puppies are hard work.
Yeah, especially boxer puppies. Yeah. I don't know if you've ever had to parent one, but Thelma, she's 3. She's lovely. Chatty and I, we go on dog walks together. Mm-hmm. And she's honestly the best.
Lightning quick.
Yeah, she's super athletic.
So quick.
Yeah. You've got 2 quick dogs though,
no,
too.
This is
Thelma,
a
Thelma trumps
level.
most people.
Wow.
I get pretty competitive.
Lightning quick.
Her zoomies, I think she's breaking some high speed records.
Okay. She could travel through space and time.
Oh, she is so fast. I get so many compliments. Like one of the proud parent moment is when someone pulls you over and they're like, "I need to pet your dog." I'm like, "Yes." And the other one is like, "What? Your dog's so athletic. Like, what are you doing? Or like, what are you feeding her?" And I just I'm obviously just feeding her normal dry food. But yeah, you get that for me is like, oh, I'm winning here. So God forbid when I actually have my own children, what I'm going to be like.
Now you mentioned the rental issues. Just give us a bit of an insight into, is your rental still crumbling around you? Just give us an insight and give us where that's at.
Well, I feel like I try not to live a life of chaos, but it just seems to follow me.
Let's go back to the start and how when it was absolutely bucketing in Sydney, Lulu lost a ceiling in her place.
Yeah. We thankfully no wounded soldiers, but about 2.5 months ago, our ceiling just caved in, and our gorgeous Paddington Terrace home.
Some people pay a lot of money for natural skylights.
Yeah, there's a few natural skylights in our house, even more natural with the ceiling caving in. But had the ceiling cave in, and basically just had a hole in our house for many months. I was out in Alice Springs living out there, but my sister and her partner we had to relocate to Bondi, and it was almost kind of comedic at the end, because they just had this dog that they were just backpacking around Sydney basically, and I'm out in the Northern Territory not really knowing what's going on. Come back to Sydney and I'm like, oh, wow, yeah, we literally don't have a ceiling in our house. Thankfully, I have a ceiling now, which is really, really grateful for the small things in life. So, it's been I said it was a smooth move to Sydney, and it really has been, but apart from, a few little rental dramas, but I guess that's what happens when you live in a historic Paddington Terrace home.
For sure. You've touched on Alice Springs a couple of times. What were you doing in Alice?
I was out there working, so I was working in the emergency department out there, just as an experience for, my medical kind of career, I guess, is I've always wanted to work in remote medicine, but specifically working in, more among the Indigenous demographic as well, and practicing those sort of remote medicine skills. So the off-season presents a great opportunity for me to go out and upskill myself as a doctor, and I'd sort of earmarked working in Central Australia for a little while, and it happened to be the timing probably wasn't exactly perfect having moved to a new club, but it's always a good opportunity for me to get out there and just become a better doctor.
And then,
I
was going to say the Dreamtime Academy. Can you tell us about that program?
Yeah. So while I was out there, I was really fortunate enough to train with a local academy out there. They're called the Red Tails, Pink Tails Right Tracks program, who actually Sarah Still Park started her footy career with. And I was just training with them to essentially, keep up to date with my skills and, get some footy in. And I guess I saw a real market and a need to create some sort of pathways for, young remote Centralians, Indigenous and non-Indigenous. There wasn't a lot of pathways out there, wasn't a lot of resources and opportunity. And I think in a region that is quite challenging socially. It's very remote. And then there's obviously a lot of challenges, being a First Nations person as well in that setting. And I sort of thought, well, how could I combine my skill set to at least facilitate some opportunities for some of these local women? So we started together with the Red Tails, Pink Tails. We ran a 4-day women and girls AFL clinic in Alice Springs and in one of the remote communities, Hermansburg. We flew out about 6 AFLW players from a few different clubs. Sarah came out, a few Hawthorn players and a few Brizzy Lions players, and ran some high performance sessions, ran some community sessions, and then some school sessions as well. So all in the sort of mission, I guess, to empower dreams and empower opportunities for these young people so they can go out, feel capable of achieving their dreams, just like everyone that has played for the Sydney Swans. And it sort of turned into something really exciting and quite big, and it was really well received. And so we've got some exciting plans for 2026 as well.
Yeah, where's the end goal for this? Are you going to annual, or is this something that's going to continue for decades long? Talk me through that.
I hope it continues for decades long. I think it was sort of a 4-day camp initially to just sort of, provide that enjoyment and that sort of, like I said, that empowerment of dreams. And then we just wanted to get some feedback around how that was received and what the actually region needs, because you don't want to go in there and just give them what you think they need. I think engaging with the community and really seeking where the deficits are and where their needs are is the most important thing. And we certainly found that. And so we'll be running camps every year out there. And then we're also looking at running a game at the end of the year as well. And then really excitingly, we'll be launching a virtual academy as well, which is essentially an online platform for participants to regularly engage with and be able to touch sort of high performance programs, whether it's athletes, sports dietitians, being able to learn from high performers themselves, both on the field, off the field, in corporate spaces, and then building out sort of our scholarship program as well, which will connect participants with opportunities with employment and education as well. So some really exciting and sort of big macro ideas coming next year. But all off the back of, I guess, there's a real need there. And what we're really all about is providing these girls with constant engagement with the resources and the toolkit so then they can go out and earn their opportunities as well. So that's really all we're trying to do.
I don't know about you. I'm feeling really insignificant in what I do day to day.
It's a bit like that. I was going to ask, so how do you get the funding for this? Is this something that are you knocking on doors to get money for this program? It sounds remarkable.
Yeah, I'm pretty shameless, to be honest.
That's great.
I've got no background in any sort of corporate fundraising at all, but I just sort of, when you start these things, you've got to believe in them. And I just honestly, exactly, knocking on doors. And I'm really lucky to have an incredible major sponsor out of Queensland, Durack Civil. It's a civil engineering company who's backed me from day one and backed the Dreamtime Academy. And they're coming on board for many, many years to come. Right. And we've got other corporate sponsors that we're looking at engaging with as well moving forward. Obviously, there's government grants that are available too. That's a little bit more of a, I guess, a longer term sort of progress. But we're currently in the process of establishing Dreamtime Academy as an actual charity, so getting DGR status and all those sorts of things, which involves a lot of different administrative pro bono sort of support. But mostly is through corporate sponsors. So I guess if anyone's interested,
exactly right.
I may as well plug it now. If anyone's interested in like learning more about what we do or how they can have an impact, I'm always open ears. I genuinely believe when you're trying to work in communities that can be quite challenging and that are incredibly remote, like Central Australia, the best way to do it is work together and leverage off existing people and programs that are already there. So that's sort of our philosophy. We're certainly not closed-minded at all, and we want to work with anyone that shares the same vision.
I think what's really nice is you can tell how passionate you are. So I'm sure it's an easy sell. So well done, you.
Oh no, but you got it. It's at the end of the day, it's not about me. It's about the participants at the end. And I think when you see the impact that something as small as a 4-day footy camp with AFLW players can make, you just think, why not do this? And when you actually see that it produces quality, impactful change, it fills you with a lot of inspiration and motivation. Even as a player, it's been really incredible for me as a on a personal front as well.
And you've had a fascinating journey as an athlete as well, professional A-League soccer player to Brisbane Lions to North Melbourne to the Swans, but I'm more interested about the transition from professional soccer to football. What inspired that and what skills have sort of translated across both codes?
Yeah, I grew up playing soccer literally my whole life and, was a part of all those sort of high performance academies back in the day. I was really thankful to have so many opportunities playing soccer at different levels and internationally, which has been fantastic. And then I started studying medicine actually down on the Gold Coast and was playing at Brisbane, and it was a bit of a balancing act, particularly when I was quite young. And
Played for Brisbane in the A-League.
Yeah. And then I was studying down on the Goldie, which is like only an hour and a half drive. But I think as a 21-year-old, it is a lot to sort of balance. And to be honest with you, I probably just burnt out in the end. And it was sort of when you play soccer, it's an incredibly technical game and you end up being quite professional, quite young. So I actually said to myself, I'm just going to have a year off. And I come from a mad footy family. Everyone in my family, bar my sister, is footy obsessed. So I grew up watching AFL, and one of my best friends at the gym was like, come down and have a kick of the footy, and went down and had a kick of the footy, and honestly it was so much fun. And that's really how I sort of launched into AFL footy. And in terms of crossover between soccer and footy, I think there's a lot of shared skills. Obviously the kicking certainly helps. But I think actually one of the biggest things is probably just like the spatial awareness, being able to read the game. I played as holding a defensive midfielder, which is really what your role is as a soccer player, is that you're the distributor. So I think from that point of view, understanding game plans and being a little bit more considered and technical and intentional with your game plans and having that spatial awareness has probably been the biggest crossover, because certainly had to learn how to tackle and handball and, kick like an AFL player, not a soccer player.
What do you think Swans members and fans can expect from you this season, or how would you describe your footy style?
I'd say that I'm an aggressive player. I love my running, hence why I probably keep doing my calf. But they'll definitely. Hopefully they see every single game that I bring in incredible intent. I like to consider myself, I bring other players into the game as well. I'm really big on leading out on the field as well. And I think one of the big things that, particularly coming to the Swans is being a really hard runner on the wing and really trying to provide both that like defensive run but offensive as well. So kicking skills and those sorts of things. But I think probably a hallmark of my game is my intent and effort and intensity. But I think one of the areas that I'm really always trying to grow at is being a really consistent distributor of the footy as well, and bringing other people into the game.
Alrighty, before we wrap up, we usually finish off with a bit of fun, some rapid fire questions so our fans can learn a bit more.
I'm like looking down, I'm like...
learn a bit more about you. Caitlin, start us off.
Okay, so first thing that comes to mind, don't overthink it. Just
launch into it.
Straight away. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Favourite Swans teammate?
Jazz Greason.
Favourite Swans employee?
Tom Chadwick. He was waiting for that one too.
I was
direct eye contact.
That.
Yeah.
I had a feeling.
Okay, move on.
Sorry. Okay. Favourite non-Swans team?
Well, I actually really love North Melbourne. I know that's probably a bad one, but they're a beautiful club. So
that's all right.
Favourite public holiday?
Favourite public holiday? I don't even know the public holidays because I never get them. Anzac Day, because I love the Anzac Day test.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. A lot of
theme.
footballers say Anzac Day.
It's one of the greatest games on the calendar, especially when Melbourne's sunny. Makes a difference.
Yep. Favourite moment at the Swans so far? Apart from the coffee machine.
I don't know if I can pick one moment, but I just want to speak to how incredible, like Tom Harley and Drew, when they come in and talk to us. Sometimes I feel like, am I Google or Apple? But like it's, I think that's a real edge of the Swans, just how professional this club is. So yeah.
Favourite dish?
I just feel like you can't go past like a rigatoni, tomato-based pasta.
You're speaking my language.
Bit of burrata on top.
Love that. Do you have more than one sibling?
Yeah.
Who's your favourite?
I've got to say my sister, who now lives in Paris, Annie.
Oh. She could be my favourite.
I have been following her Insta.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hiking over there. What's that about? Just if you get in, just eat and drink. Like, what are they doing?
Yeah, well, they're in Spain. Her
Shout out to Annie
boyfriend
as well,
Charlie
she's
has run an ultra marathon, 100 kilometres recently, Blue Mountains, off no training whatsoever. I was kind of hoping he'd get injured because I just thought I can barely run 5 kilometres and I get injured, and then he goes runs 100. So I think they've really taken that mindset into Spain, and they're about to go to the Dolomites and do some hiking there. Annie tells me she's going to go do a 50K. I'm like, well, you're not a very robust human, so I'm not sure that's going to go as well for you.
Favourite footy memory?
What's my favourite footy memory? That's a tough one.
Okay, well, it can be soccer as well. Favourite as an athlete?
Watching a game.
I think, even though it was very bittersweet for me seeing North Melbourne win the granny last year, because obviously like you're not playing and a part of it, I think to see all the work that program has done and all the people that have gone into it, to see them have the ultimate success, they were just so deserving of it. And obviously like some of my closest teammates in some of my closest friends in that team. So to see them lift the cup and know that, you might have played a, small part in that, I think was really satisfying.
What about favourite holiday destination?
I'm going to say it's probably 2, and they're Currumbin, just on the Gold Coast where my family are, and then Whistler. I'm a mad skier, which I don't ski now. I'm playing footy, but Whistler in Canada. We all cut that part out.
And finally, favourite weekend activity?
Normally I would say like going to the beach, swimming, surfing, being very active and outdoors, going and having a coffee in the sun, and then of course always bringing Thelma along with me. I've had to keep the walking at bay, so I've taken up mountain bike riding now.
Is there anything you can't do?
Oh, many, many things.
Make a good coffee with milk.
Yeah, can't froth milk, can't dance.
Lulu, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. Good luck with the rehab with the calf injury, and I think we're about 7 weeks away from trial game starting. Good luck, and thanks for coming on.
Thanks, guys. Thanks so much for having me.
Hi, I'm Jasmine Lee, and Bing Lee is proud to be a sponsor of the More Than Footy podcast. Before I get bounced by Dad, don't miss our weekly Binger deals on now at Bing Lee. Go the Swannies!
Good one, Jasmine.
Thanks, Nana.